Tech by Tips.
Hello and welcome to another Tech by Tips video. In today's video we're going to be addressing a video request that has been in the queue for a while and I finally managed to get going, so we're going to be answering this request from BM Irfan, which says, thank you, amazing tutorial on the setup side, much appreciated. Can you now do one on Partkeepr? And that's what we're going to be working with today, Partkeepr. So if we go into github.com, we'll find that Partkeepr used to exist at github.com/partkeepr/partkeepr. But if we see, it says that the repository has been archived since July the 2nd, 2025. So it is still there, but it is read-only. That means that the developer or group of developers, it was 31 people that were contributing to this application, are no longer going to be making any updates to this application. But since this was requested in the channel, I am still going to show you how you get this app up and running. But unfortunately, the problem that we have here is that if we go to the official website, it's no longer there. They got rid of the website because they're no longer maintaining the app. And any docs and anything related like that, it's also gone. We're going to have to, go with any information that you might find somewhere else, or maybe someone uploaded YouTube videos talking about how the app works and all that, but we don't have good documentation, from official sources right now. We saw 9 releases of this application, 31 contributors. It was written in JavaScript and PHP mainly, so pretty straight up. And I found this image on Docker Hub, so it's mhubig Partkeepr, and this is an old image. It hasn't been updated, but it works and has a little bit of information. So this is the one we're going to be using. It has been downloaded a lot of times, so that tells me that a lot of people have found it reliable. So that's what we're going to be using for this. First, we go into our NAS. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create a folder structure here. So where we store our containers, we're going to create a folder for Partkeepr. In there, we're going to create a folder for the config file, another folder for data, and another folder for the database stuff. So that's the 3 folders you need inside Partkeepr. And then for the project, we create another folder for Partkeepr where our Docker Compose file is going to live. So that's all that we need when it comes to creating the folder structure. So now that we have that, we can go here into the projects and create a new project. We can call it Partkeepr. And then we're going to look for that path for our Docker Compose file. So Partkeepr. And then we're going to say we're going to create a Docker Compose. I already have it here, so I'm going to be sharing it with you. And I'm going to paste it, and then we're going to look at it from a bigger screen. So let's go, don't start it, done, Partkeepr YAML. And here's our configuration or Docker Compose file. We're going to be creating 2 containers. So the first one is the app, and the second one is the database. So we're going to say that we're going to be using the image that I mentioned previously. We are going to name this container Partkeepr, and we're going to say that it should use the appropriate time zone. In my case, it's America, New York. And I'm going to expose it on the NAS on port 8000, but the container uses port 80. And then we're going to map 2 volumes, which is the config folder and the data folder that we created in the NAS. And we're going to map it to the appropriate place in the container, which you can see right here. And then we're going to say that this container depends on the database container being up and running. So it first has to start this one and then try with this one. And we're going to restart the container unless we manually stop it. Now for the second container, we're going to be using MariaDB version 10. We're going to name it Partkeepr Database. And we're going to give it the user of the administrator of our NAS so that it is able to read and write the appropriate folder that has the database stuff. So make sure that you give it a user that has read and write permissions to that folder that you're mounting. Again, for the time zone, I'm going to specify my time zone, America, New York, and then we're going to specify the root password for the database, the name of the database, the user, and the password for the database. So everything's going to be Partkeepr for the video, but change it to something else to make it more secure. And then we're going to mount the database folder in the NAS to the place where it stores all the MySQL stuff. And again, we're going to stop the container unless we manually come here and stop it ourselves. So that's all that we need in our Docker Compose file. So this should be good. We should be able to then save and build, since I already saved it, it says that, so we're just gonna have to go to actions and build. Alright, so here we're building the project. It's downloading the images, so it needs 2 images, the database image and the Partkeepr application image. So it's gonna take a little bit of time, but we're just gonna come back when that is done. Alright, it has finished downloading the images and it built the containers, and everything is good because we got the exit code 0, so we can close out of here. We can clear all this, and then we should see 2 containers. The database container, which is running, and everything looks to be good. It says ready for connections and everything. And then we have the application here that is running. No more updates, so it should be good. So now we should be able to go into the IP of the NAS, and then we should be able to go into port 8000 and then /setup, and this is what we should see. This is the setup of the application. So we're going to follow these instructions here. We're going to click on next. Notice here that it's going to tell us that it's going to create an authorization key file. So you see authorization key successfully generated. So we need that on the next step. So we need to get that. Let me highlight something here. If you're like me running a browser like Brave for some reason breaks some of the socket connections. So you will get this kind of error when you try to do a terminal to the container. So you need to use another browser in order to get into the container and get the contents of that file. So for that, I'm going to be using Microsoft Edge because it's pretty straight up and it's going to work fine. So let's go there. Alright, when I try to open a terminal here, it kind of leaves me hanging here. So I need to go here and I need to launch with a command. And the command we're going to say is bin shell. So we want a shell. Okay, and then we now have a terminal here that is responding. So if we say ls, we'll see the files here. We need to go into the app folder, and then when we ls here, we'll see the auth key PHP file here. So that's what we need to get. So we're going to do a cat auth key.php, and that gives us the key file that it generates for our container. So let's make sure that we copy this, and then we can go back to our normal browser. And then in here, we're going to go back to the setup and we're going to type that key. And then we can go and say next. And it says, okay, imported the configuration successfully. That means that the key was accepted. We can say next. And then here's where we're going to configure the connection to the database. Make sure that you delete this thing that says the host name is database. We need to go into our Docker Compose file and we need to get the name of that service that represents that database. And then we put that here. So Partkeepr /database, dash database, which is what I put there. And then we can click on next. And now it's going to test that it can connect to the database, and it was able to do that. Then it's going to start setting up the database in the other container. So this part is going to take a little bit of time, a few minutes, like 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to be back when that is done. Alright, it has finished, and as you can see, there's a bunch of steps that it went through. And now we got the next button available, so we're going to click on next. And this is very, very important in here. You need to set up a username and a password. So let's say username, password for the sake of the video, and then something like me@domain.local, something like that. Here is very crucial. Do not leave it as WSSE. For some reason this breaks and then it tells you that your username and your password is wrong. So just change this to HTTP basic authentication, and that should get you working fine. Again, use HTTP basic instead of WSSE, and then it'll work for you. So now we're going to say next. It's going to set itself up, and we're going to wait a little bit until this is done and the next button is available again. And here we go. Now it's done with all this. We have the next. We're going to click on next. And it tells us here that we need to configure a cron job. This is honestly not necessary. It's not mandatory for it to work. But if you do this, apparently it helps with getting some information for Partkeepr. But I'm not going to do anything with this. I'm just going to ignore it. I'm just going to say submit. And now it's going to redirect us to the 8000 without setup, which is the user interface that is normal for the application. And now we can log in. So I'm going to say username, password, and connect. And now we shouldn't get any problems. It should be able to connect and open the interface. And then it complains here about the cron job that we ignored, that doesn't exist, but this is really not necessary. So I'm going to ignore that. And here's a user interface for the application Partkeepr. And as far as I can tell from what I can see in this application, this is an application that allows you to kind of manage an inventory of different parts, mainly things like electronic circuit parts, seems like. I have never seen this application before, and I have never seen anybody use it. Unfortunately, since the official documentation no longer exists, I am blind in here, but the application is working. You can go in here, you can define projects, you can define manufacturers for your parts, distributors, all of that. So the application does work. You can come here and create the things that you need and track anything that you need. So if you say, for example, add a part, here you get the form where you basically input all the information related to that part. You can also manage the distributors, the manufacturers, all of that. So this is like really a complicated application to manage your inventory of parts that you need to build stuff. So I'm just gonna leave it here, honestly, because there's no official documentation anymore, but the application is working. So you should be able to use this application if you want, if you know how to use it, right? So that's gonna be it for this one. You finally can get the application running. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Leave me comments in the comment section below, because as you can see, a lot of my videos are based on things that you would like me to cover, you would like to see, or you're having issues with deploying. I'm gonna try to help you out so that you can get the applications running. And also, you should have noticed there was no ad on my video. That is on purpose. I'm not monetizing the channel, but that means that there's no ads, so I made no money from creating the video. If you want to support me, you can go into the link in the description below, and there's a link to PayPal there where you can donate to support me, or there's also a Bitcoin wallet address if you prefer to do it that way. So I'll see you in the next one. Take care.